How's it going, everyone? Welcome back into another Foundation disc review. Today we have something rather intriguing and exciting. This is the Premier Series Q-ine DD3 prototype from Discmania, a brand new plastic blend that promises a scientific innovation and hopefully some improvement in performance. That's at least what they're striving for. So what is this Q-ine and what makes it so special? Well, Discmania claims to be utilizing the gyroscopic effect more on this disc than their normal disc. They're doing this by moving weight from the flight plate out into the rim of the disc, because ultimately you get a more intense gyroscopic effect on the disc, what allows the disc to fly further if you have more of that weight on the rim. That's what they're, that's, I think, scientific fact at this point. MVP has been doing this for years with their overmold technology, and now we're seeing Discmania seeming to be claiming that they're doing the same exact thing by just taking some of the weight out of the flight plate and moving it out. Because ultimately, I have a 174 gram disc here, so they've still achieved a max weight driver just with a different strategy for the weight distribution. And right away you can tell that the flight plate on this disc does seem to be quite thin and flimsy. I don't think on the grip of the disc it will really deter people. In fact, I kind of like that you can dig your thumb into it. It feels pretty comfy, and the flight weight doesn't feel any more bulky or heavy, or the rim, I should say. Ultimately, you have a disc that's still very agreeable, but the question, of course, lies in, does this perform any better? Because that's the entire objective of this disc. So not only are we going to throw this disc today, but we're going to throw a C-line DD3 as well as an S-line DD3 next to it to see, are we noticing a different flight, easier distance, those sort of things that would actually matter when pushing a disc like this. Because let's be honest, if you don't get a different flight that's preferable or more distance, there's really no reason for this to exist anyways, because it doesn't feel all that different from your other plastic blends. So that's going to be the ultimate test. So we're going to start by throwing it. Each time I throw, I'll throw each one of the discs so we can just kind of get a look at it. And this review is going to be much less about figuring out how the DD3 flies, because we've seen DD3s fly. It's going to be much more just seeing it next to the other molds and comparing them. I'm going to throw the C-line first, then the S-line, and then finish with the Q-line, because it actually, I think it'd be better to see what the disc normally flies like before throwing this. I think it'll be more fresh in my mind that way. So we're going to start with the C-line, and this will give you a frame of reference as well. So this is just a gentle hyzer throw, nice overstable flight from the C-line. Similar flight, probably a little more pushy. Now we'll go to the Q-line. Oh. Well, I saw that one off. Luckily I have a second one. Okay. I think I threw that third one pretty similar to the first two, the C-line and the S-line, and right away I'm noticing a little bit more flip potentially. We'll throw it a few more times, but that one might have a little more flip to it, but that doesn't mean anything. It could just be a more understable run of the disc. So we'll need a lot more throws to get a conclusive idea. So we'll have a little bit of headwind going back the other way, and we're gonna try and throw flatter with a bit more power and see what we get. So C-line first. C-line flipped up a little bit, still a pretty strong fade at the end. That one has a good dome to it, so I expect that C-line to be pretty overstable. Definitely a lower flight, got a little bit more turn out of that one. Let's see where the Q-lines fall in. Okay. And that is why I will throw them both, because we didn't learn anything from that. There we go. I'm gonna try really hard not to fall into the junk science trap that I thought this disc was, but that started turning like the S-line, which that's what I was figuring, that this would fly like the S-line one. It's a little bit flatter. But I don't really know if I can describe, but the way that it turned and like did its S there, it almost felt like it was more prolonged. Like, I might be going crazy. I probably sound crazy. I almost feel like it did, like the S-line disc kind of like looked like a normal S flight. That one just looked like it was holding onto the turn a little bit longer and then like straightening out longer. Like it kind of did look weird. Throwing back the other way now with a pretty good tailwind that started to whip up at this point. And we're gonna give these discs like a little bit of a more aggressive flex line, because I think that is where we're gonna learn the most about this q-line disc, is when it is on some kind of line where it's going to change shapes. Just throwing it on straight hyzer probably won't do much, straight anhyzer. We want to see the disc either flipping or turning, so I think that's going to give us more clues. We're going to start with the C-line, as always. That was a really good S shot to baseline with. Flexed out, but it took a little while, like a DD3 typically does. Now the S-line. I didn't get over on that one as aggressively, which is why I didn't turn as much, but you know, those discs aren't drastically different. Now we get to the interesting part. That was a good shot, but that didn't necessarily look weird like the last one I threw. It did carry really nicely, but I didn't see anything bizarre. That one was low and I didn't get it turned over. So far, I'll try next to get like baby hyzers to flip, because I think that could be interesting. But these flights aren't drastically different. Going back the other way, we're gonna try to go for some more low, slight hyzer to flip shots and gauge that a little bit. And then I think we'll take it out to a bigger field and just throw for distance, because I think that's ultimately what's gonna be the big conclusion on this disc. I think it flies nice, but I'm not seeing anything revolutionary, at least after a few throws. Yeah, that popped up. It went a little straight and fade. I don't know, I'm not seeing anything crazy. I'll throw another one, but I think the distance is gonna be what we need to see. Yeah, I mean, they are going far. It's hard to see without measuring. I'm gonna do that in a second. They are going far. They seem to be getting out there pretty effortlessly. They feel good. They're good DD3s, but the DD3 is already a really good disc. So I think I've really seen everything I need to, just the flights. I'm gonna go out to a different field and really rip them compared to the other discs, and let's see if they're going significantly further, because that is the only thing that's really gonna clue me in to whether or not this thing is worthwhile. It's time to cut these things loose, and I'll give them a couple good throws each, make sure, you know, I throw them well, and we'll just see if these things can outpace the others. Let's rip out the C-line. Solid flex line. That's what I'm gonna be aiming for with all of them, because that seems to be the way they're flying the furthest. S-line. A little lower, so I'll expect that one to have gone a little shorter, but still a pretty good flight. I'm gonna try and throw these at the exact same speeds, and we'll just see. We'll walk up there and see if they go further. That one turned over a bunch. It did seem to go pretty far. I think that last one should have been a very comparable flight to the C-line. The first one turned over a bunch. They're definitely more, that C-line one I have is pretty pop top, like dome, like, I think that one's just kind of beefy. I think these ones fly similar to the S-line in stability. The second one I think I hit on a more appropriate line. Curious to see where they landed. We have certainly not arrived at conclusive data, but both of the q-line discs were about 60 feet further than the other two. The S-line and C-line discs were right next to each other. These were like 60 feet further. Now, I would not have been shocked to see that they just went like 15, 20, 30 feet further. 60 feet is pretty significant, and I feel like I threw them pretty similar, so we're gonna throw them again. This time I think I'm gonna try to keep them on hyzer and just really get into them, see how they push. They certainly bombed, they went far. I'm gonna go q-line first this time, try to remove some bias. That one was low and got shot down by the wind, I think. Second one was low, but pushed a lot further. So I'm gonna try and throw a similar low shot with the other disc. Okay, decent, decent. I think I got pretty good rips on both those last two, and I can tell already that they're much shorter. The further Q series disc was only about 25 feet further than that last C-line throw, so not quite as dramatic, still further. We're gonna throw them each a couple more times and just see if we keep getting the same result. Kind of a higher hyzer flip line there. Let's go q-ine next. Okay, that looks pretty similar. They do definitely, like, they want to push out there. Like, I can tell these discs like to go, but I don't know if I'm gaslighting myself. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. Okay, I hit that C-line one really nicely on a really comparable line. So if they both outdrove the C-line again, I'm gonna be leaning towards being convinced. Just to give you a visual, these two landed right next to each other, and that's kind of what we're seeing, about 20 extra feet there. Here's what I'm gonna say. I can't sit here after doing a little review and a little bit of testing and say this unequivocally flies further. What I can say is it just flew further on somewhat comparable lines every time I threw it, and I was trying my best to be unbiased. And I'll also say that maybe some of the, like, the gyroscopic effect is real science. And so it shouldn't be that crazy that if a company actually tangibly puts more weight in the rim, that it could make a disc go further. And that appears to be what they did. That seems pretty obvious. So it's not some crazy claim. It's just like you kind of have to convince yourself of it. And I'm gonna go out and say, like, I think this does go further than your normal DD3. And maybe I was just throwing it better and getting better flights out of it, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think it goes like dramatically further, but 30 feet, 25 feet, like that can be huge on the disc golf course. So I didn't really think I was gonna arrive at this conclusion, but like you should probably check one of these out if you're somebody who cares about having like max distance. This might just be like a great max distance disc. You know, there's a lot more experimenting that needs to be done to see just like, you know, why it's going further. Like, is it just that it flips more? Does it actually fly different on its lines? You know, I couldn't really tell. I didn't think that they were just trying to yank our chain on this one, but like we kind of all joke about gyro, and like all discs have the gyroscopic effect. There's more weight in the rim, so does moving extra weight actually do anything? Is it even enough to make a difference? It might be. Your hyzers might go a little further with this thing. I genuinely found that this one was going further for me today. So maybe you'll have to try it for yourself. We'll really figure something out if the pros are throwing it, because if they don't, then they've probably done enough research to figure out it doesn't make enough of a difference to care. But you're not sacrificing feel, like it still feels good. So I don't know, maybe this is gonna be the next big thing. Maybe we're gonna see other companies copying it. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Q-line? Are you gonna check it out for yourself? Or do you think it's bogus and I just threw this better today? Because it may be the case. Thanks for watching this disc review. Make sure to subscribe to watch all the other, or to not miss all the other content we're uploading to the Labs channel. Thanks for watching.